Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Lisa Frankenstein, your second feminist Frankenstein movie, written by Diablo Cody. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 12. Sorry, 13. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. I will say this. This looks way better than Poor Things with Emma Stone. That movie looks effed up. Like, effed up, whimsical, and effed up. Like, it's meant to be both, but it just comes off as effed up because if you read the synopsis of it. This one looks at least like it's trying to be funny. It's set, I think, in the 80s or maybe early 90s. And Lisa basically builds herself a boyfriend and brings him back to life using a, what's the name? Tanning bed. So, dig up someone special. That's kind of funny. This should have came out in Halloween. I don't know why this didn't come out Halloween. And I guess what happens in the movie, judging by the trailer, is she brings him back to life, but they have to keep killing people in order to like replace certain body parts on him because he's not quite finished. He was like missing a hand, and so they end up killing a bunch of people and then putting there's his ear. Like, I guess he's fallen apart, and so they keep killing people to replace his body parts. And she's in love with him. Directed by Zelda Williams and written by Diablo Cody. February 9th. I don't know. I gotta say the trailer looks good. I like the music though. It's got kind of a goth feel. It's got a fun sensibility to it. You know. I don't know if I trust Diablo Cody though to really have an ending here. I don't know if I do. Here's the way I imagine it would roll out. Acclaimed writer of Jennifer's Body. I don't think Jennifer's Body did really good, but here's the way I would imagine it would roll out. See, he's missing a hand. So the first act is Lisa is lonely, and she is a goth chick, and she pines for this dead guy who either died recently. I guess he must have died recently. She was in love with him, and maybe he dies, and then she goes to the graveyard and acts all creepy like goth girls do. But she comes up with this wacky plan to bring him back to life, right? And I guess she's Frankenstein, or maybe that's not her name. I don't know. I think it would be cool. If I was writing the movie, her name would totally be Frankenstein. She would be a Frankenstein descendant, and she finds, like, secret plans and then, you know, does her own version of it using the tanning bed. But I don't know if it'll tie in that way. I think it should. But, so, she does this wacky thing. It's kind of like Weird Science where she brings a guy back to life, and she shouldn't be able to do it, right? But she does, and it's a comedy. You can get away with it as long as it's funny. So the second act, she gets her boyfriend. At first, he's hard to deal with. He's like, he's got all sorts of problems, and they realize, I gotta get more body parts for him, or he wants them. I don't know, because there is a line in the movie where she says, so and so says you should accept a guy with all his faults, because like he points out he has no hand, and she doesn't at first doesn't want to do anything about it, I guess. So I probably guess the first murder is either an accident or like he's severely injured and then they finish him off because otherwise he'll be blamed or the secret will be out. So they somehow, I don't know, chop off his hand and then put it on his body, and then now it works. And slowly, either the monster or Lisa or both are like, let's kill some more people so I can get better. Right? And slowly they start replacing his body parts. And but as the bodies pile up, there's a problem. Now, the girls in her class seem to love it. And I guess this is late 80s, early 90s, because they do mention the goth chicks. And the hair does look very 80s. So I'm down with it. So here he is when he has his hands, or she puts the hands back on them somehow. And slowly he's becoming more and more alive, but I guess less and less human. Now, the third act is the one I'm worried about. She's totally in love with him. He's been great. But eventually they reach a breaking point where there's too many bodies. They're going to get caught. He's killing too many people. So either she becomes like him. I don't know. What would be the classic ending? I guess the classic ending would be they both die, right? You'd have to end. You want to end it like a version of like Frankenstein. So the version of Frankenstein is they chase Frankenstein in the windmill and burn it down, right? In the Universal monster movie, then it starts literally with the flooded basement of the windmill after everybody's gone, and then Frankenstein's back. In this movie, how could you end it? Something, maybe you could do a wind turbine or something, and that collapses on him and crushes him, but we don't see it, so maybe you could bring him back in another movie. And in the process, Dr. Frankenstein, I think the monster kills him. Yeah, I'm almost sure in the Universal monster movie. I'm not sure in the original book how he dies, but I think they all die. So the classic way to end this would be to have Lisa die too, but maybe she dies and he brings her back, and that's the end of the movie. It's a comedy, so it could have a pretty wacky ending. It could end that they both get away with it, and then they have kids, and then they have these weird kids that are half Frankenstein monsters. I don't know. I don't know, though. Again, I don't know if I fully trust Diablo Cody to come with the comedy. That being said, it looks better than Poor Things, but Poor Things looks awful. It just looks like god awful, overproduced. It's got Mark Ruffalo in it. This looks like at least it's going to be fun, nostalgic. It'll have 80s stuff in it. It'll make a bunch of jokes about the past. And Lisa Frankenstein, I got to hand it to you. That's a funny title. It's a funny title. Would I see the movie? I wouldn't see it in theaters. I would see it maybe on streaming. Like if it landed on Netflix or, Max, and it wasn't completely panned, and I didn't hear it was a feminist thing like Poor Things, I might watch it. I did my own version of this called Frankengine for Superfrat. So if you want to look up Frankengine, it's Franken apostrophe Gine, and you could look up my little story about. It's a bit not safe for work, so I'll warn you in advance where they put the electrodes. But it's a fun concept to play with and parody because Frankenstein's so classic. So if Diablo Cody's co-writer was a comedian, maybe. I don't know if Diablo Cody can pull off the comedy. That's my only worry. I'm curious if she can, though. I'm curious if she can, or if she goes down a feminist rat hole and then it just turns into a bunch of allegories about how men and women. But it doesn't look that way from the trailer, I'll say. And the trailer looks fun and good. I mean, at least it looks as good as that 80s slasher movie where the girl goes back in time. What the hell is that called? Totally or something? Or I forget. But that one just came out too. So, I don't know. It might be okay. It might be kind of watchable. So if your date drags you to this movie, it might not be pure hell. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. Thanks to all who came out to the 5-star senior living facility in Voorhees, New Jersey. I will be at the Delanco Library tomorrow at 7 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. Saturday, I'll be at Geek Fest. Sunday, I'll be at the 13th Child Brewery. Monday, I'll be at the Cumberland County Library. And then Halloween, I'll be at Bridgeton High School. Hope to see you there. We'll see you tomorrow.